us on another episode of Investors Guide, a show where we guide you and help you on how you can make your money work for you. So over the last few episodes, we've been focusing specifically on mutual funds and understanding the various aspects related to mutual funds. But over the next few episodes, I'm going to focus specifically on debt funds and understand the various categories of debt funds, how they work, and what you need to be aware about as an investor. And to help understand more on debt funds, joining me is Feroz Aziz of Anand Rathi Wealth Management. Feroz, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Investors Guide. So I want to focus now on the various categories as far as debt funds are concerned, because debt is usually a category which is very often misunderstood by investors in terms of the kind of risk that goes with it and how they really work. So let's start by understanding an overall perspective as far as debt funds are concerned, and also talk about dynamic bond funds.
Yes, Avni, debt is a very important category because in India, interest rates are still high relative to the rest of the top economies in the world. The interest rates are relatively low. So debt becomes a very important stability provider for the entire portfolio, because equity takes the risk and debt earns you a return of 6-7%, and then it automatically complements the risk which you take on the equity. So debt is important. If we have to look at debt, and then if you go into important categories, dynamic bond fund again is a very, very important category. To understand it, it's the first thing which we'll have to understand is, as the word suggests, dynamic. The fund manager who manages this fund tries to take benefit of different interest rate cycles. If the interest rates are moving up, he takes bonds which are shorter in nature, maturing in 1 year, 2 year, and 3 year. If interest rates are expected to go down, then he takes long periods of bonds so that the interest can be locked in for the longest period possible. So point one, dynamic bond fund, as the name suggests, is dynamic in nature. The fund manager has a large role to play. Depending on the interest rate cycle, he decides his portfolio. Higher the probability of interest fall, larger the period of bonds he buys, so that he can lock in a higher interest rate for you as an investor. So it's an important category, and it's dynamically managed by the fund manager to get you that extra return which interest rate movement can provide.
Right, absolutely, Feroz. You pointed out a very important point there. The fact that the fund manager's role in dynamic bond fund becomes very important, because you're sort of playing with the interest rate in terms of trying to get that difference as far as the interest rates are concerned. But as far as investors are concerned, who are the kind of investors who should actually be investing in this category? Because it's not as if, if you have a very low risk appetite, this might be the best idea for you. And also the time horizon that one should sort of look at while investing in these funds.
I think investors who have a period of investing of about 3 to 4 years can look at dynamic bond funds. I think in debt, it's very important to buy a basket of funds. So dynamic bond funds help you get the kicker. Can they be bought standalone as 1 or 2 products in a portfolio? The answer is no. If you're buying a dynamic bond fund, be rest assured that you will need other debt products to act as a more stable product. So point one, anybody who has an investment time frame of 3 to 5 years, it's a good investment. Second, these are not to be bought alone. Now, for example, at Anand Rathi, we have a model portfolio in which there are 5 funds, out of which 2 of them are dynamic bond funds. So it requires a portfolio rather than just a one fund approach. That's one thing which is very, very critical, and people go wrong here several times in our experience.
Right. So in terms of, like you said, that it shouldn't be the only fund in your debt portfolio, what would be the other complementary, of course we'll discuss those later on, but what would be the other complementary kind of funds that need to be, invested in along with dynamic bond funds?
See, if a dynamic bond fund is moving around different bonds and is more actively managed, So to complement something which is actively managed, you will need a passive strategy so that there is a complementary nature. So in the passive category, if I have to mention one or two categories, a short-term fund could be a good complementer, and maybe a Bharat Bond ETF, which is a static hold to maturity kind of a portfolio. So the short-term funds and bond ETFs, which are now opening up in India, could be two categories which go very well if bought along with the dynamic bond fund.
Right. And now, the other very important question here is with respect to the risk factors that is associated with this category. And that is something that, again, very often gets overlooked because it just gets bucketed with, the debt category. And debt overall, there is this perception that debt funds are extremely low risk and I don't have to worry about any sort of risk factors. But that is a misconception that sort of needs to be broken, very quickly.
Yes, Avni, when it comes to risk of debt funds, there are two risks which are very important to keep in mind. One is the credit risk, the other is the interest rate risk. A credit risk is nothing but an event where you bought a bond, the fund manager buys a bond on your behalf, and that bond or the company who has actually issued that bond goes bankrupt and doesn't pay up the money. That's the credit risk. The other risk, which is called the interest rate risk, it's very important to understand that when you bought a fund, if interest rates move up, your bond's value will come down and vice versa. So that relation of the bond price or the mutual fund's price with the change in interest rate is called the interest rate risk. So credit risk and interest rate risk are the two important risks. So let me put a number numerically on these two for a dynamic bond fund. On credit risk, I think it's 2 on 10, which implies 10 being the highest. It's lower on credit risk, dynamic bond funds. But on interest rate risk, it is somewhere between 7 and 8 if you ask a numerical integer to it, 10 being the highest. So dynamic bond funds are low on credit risk, marginally higher on the interest rate risk, about 7, 8 kind of a number on interest rate risk. So that's the important risk to keep in mind. If interest rates go up, then your fund will not do as good as you thought when you actually bought it.
Right, that's a very good perspective to actually understand, what the risk factors really are in terms of assessing where they stand. But in this current environment, of course, interest rates are falling and perhaps may go down further going forward as well. What should investors really keep in mind?
What should investors keep in mind? Let me give 2-3 things. Like I already said, in debt, create a portfolio. Not just one fund. It's very important to mitigate both interest rate risk and credit risk and benefit from this platform of debt mutual fund, which is a phenomenal platform from a tax perspective, from a regular income perspective. Always look at it from a portfolio standpoint. Second, interest rates over the next 2, 3, 4 years in India are expected to go lower. So it's a very good time to actually create a debt fund portfolio. Unlike in a fixed deposit, if interest rates go down, you don't get any benefit. But in a debt fund, if interest rates went down, you get an extra return more than what you expected in the form of interest.
Okay. And finally, Feroze, as far as the tax liability is concerned on your debt fund returns, if you can just elaborate a little bit on that aspect.
See, the tax, whenever it comes to tax, there are two important things which you need to understand. What is the tax rate and what is the time for it to get into the long-term taxation category? So the tax rate is in the long-term category 10%, 10% flat you would have. Sorry, that was scrapped. So 20% with indexation is your taxation on the long-term category. So, and it takes 3 years of investing period for the investment to classify as a long-term investment. So 20% with indexation and 3 years is an important thing to remember. And if you actually need the money before 3 years, you will have to pay tax on it depending on the tax slab which you actually are in, because that will be classified as a short-term category. So tax-wise, it's very efficient because you also get a benefit of indexation. which is nothing but a tax discount because of inflation, mehengai. So given all this, I think for a person in the highest tax slab, a debt fund is a clear winner on the rest of when compared with all the rest of the debt fund alternatives which you might have for this portion of money.
Yes, absolutely, Feroze. Extremely important points that you've raised over there. And just for our viewers, very quickly, the kind of returns that one can expect from debt funds could be anywhere between 6 to 8.5%, depending on the environment at that point in time. But Feroze, on that note, that's a wrap on this edition. We'll, of course, be back with yet another episode next week on what exactly are duration funds, and once again we'll delve deeper into understanding how they fit into your portfolio. Thank you so much for tuning in.